Hello, everyone. How you doing, folks, wherever you are? My name is John Nelson. I'm the plugin CEO of JKL Works and Plugin Business. And normally we're talking about on these Boost Live things about business optimization and growth and marketing optimization and how to not only get more customers for your business, but make sure that is running the way that everything is running internally from a 360-degree perspective, the way that you want it to. But I want to take a pause from that this time. And this is also, we do another segment called Plugin Service Profiles. And this sort of falls into that too. So we're going to have our cool logo there that comes up, a graphic there for a second. Because this is a special episode that I wanted to put together. I've been thinking about this for a long time. And having a 14-year-old daughter in the house in my family here, this is something that is important to me to potentially, drive for her potential, as she grows and she develops and she finds her own way and does the things that she wants to do. But also for me anyway, I grew up in a household where my parents were always involved in small business as owners, anything from a coffee supply for offices all the way. In fact, that was the name of one of the companies, was Office Coffee Service, all the way to containers and opening terminals for shipping containers and connecting with rather large companies at the time in the late 80s or early 80s, I should say, and well into the 90s. That group lasted for a while. They were called ITEL Container. So this has been something that's been a part of my life growing up as a kid. But the conditions are such now that there are amazing opportunities for kids and teens out there who may want to start a business, may have an idea. And it's many of the same things that attract us adults to the same thing. It's the sort of being your own boss. It's the living your passion. It's the everything else. So I want you to understand there's a time and a place for working in regular jobs, especially for kids and teens, entry-level jobs, and going in. But at the same time, that starting a business is hard. Make no mistake, it really is not easy. It has its own lessons and perils and different things. But if you're willing to wade through that, if you're willing to seek out advice like you never have before, the benefits are unbelievable for you. It will teach you things you never would have known, as will working your way up through a business that you eventually want to run or start one similar to it. That's the concept of apprenticing. It's been around for centuries for this reason. It is a worthwhile endeavor. So, I mean, don't miss that for a moment. As far as what's out there. So I want to take this time today and I want to talk about the options for kids and teens to start a business. And for you adults, don't tune this out if you're not the parent of or guardian of a child or a teenager, because if you don't have one yet, that's cool. Find one and mentor them. Find one and share with what it is that you love about this business and bring them up. And help be that force in their life for good. Help be that force in their life for potential when the world says in so many ways, you will never do this, you'll never do anything, you'll never get out of it. Be that light for them. You have that opportunity, even if you don't think you're good at it. I fail every day, but I get back on the horse and I start and I find ways to do that, to be a father. And for you ladies, I mean, this has been a time-honored tradition that you have brought up your daughters. Do the same and speak into some of your wisdom into your sons as well. They need it. They need that different perspective. Or again, I know people that don't have kids, have never had kids, but they have been a parent to so many that they may as well have all been their kids. And you remember those stories, those people. So this is an opportunity for that, to just take a little time out from the business optimization, but yet not go so far that you haven't seen some of these things before. So what we're going to talk about today is, why start a business? If you're gonna, if you this is, we're gonna talk about some statistics and some intangible things about starting a business. Why should a kid or a teen who even remotely has the interest get involved and go down this road and start this journey? More and more high schools in the United States are doing this. I've toured a handful of them. And they have far better facilities for this kind of thing than ever. Certainly, for the first time in a very long time, the concept of people going into trades or people going into things that are not, high-end doctor, lawyer type of businesses have entered the discussion again. And these schools are adapting to that. And there's some really cool things happening out there. So these kids emerge far more prepared for those types of things to actually go and earn money and be good stewards of it than perhaps we ever were. So certainly for our time. So we're going to talk about that. Then I've gone through and found some resources, some of which I was familiar with before I started this, and many I was not. And I'm sure there are far more that we could spend forever on. So the idea then is, if one of these is not in your area or not exactly what you're looking for, look for something that is. We're going to talk about, how to get started. So you got your idea. So you've got your want to, you've got your drive. If you think you're really ready for this, there's some things to keep in mind to get started. And for most of you who watch this, spoiler alert, you've heard many of these things before because they work. So, and then finally, just some tips and tricks that I've come across and some wisdom that I hope helps somebody who is either, trying to start their own business, whether they're a kid or a teen or an adult, frankly, or just other things that, that you would help you, I would hope, to get going, because that's the idea. It's out of that place of love. Okay. So let's talk about the statistics about why a kid or a teen should start a business. Okay. And for the most part, this is going to be aimed at teenagers, but there are some things in here for kids too, for kids that are 6 to 12, that are just starting out, that are just getting going. I know different places in the world that means different things. So, but primarily aimed at some, where an age where, say, from 12, 13 years on, kids can really begin to make a significant difference and or take more of an ownership or responsibility stage in what they're doing. That doesn't mean that kids 6 to 12 aren't valuable. They very much are, and they very much need to be around it, and they very much need to learn. At that age, I was washing coffee pots in a very hot warehouse with very hot water, trying to clean these things with using very specialized equipment that would get down in there. If you know what a coffee pot decanter looks like, not the K cups, the big ones. That took a special kind of brush to do that, and working with quite a bit of cleaner. And if that didn't work, we would do basically something that was muriatic acid that would go in the coffee pots and clean out the rest of it. So I get enough of it to know I didn't want to do that in the summer in August in Southeast Texas, or July. I didn't want to do that. It was hot. But even that taught me things, about what I needed to do or didn't. So let's talk about some statistics here. So this is from, let me back up for a second, because this is from a survey that was done with Junior Achievement, which is an organization, nonprofit organization here in the United States that deals with, and worldwide, I think, that deals with, they go into different classrooms and they talk about careers and education and growth and business and development and leadership and lots of different things. To the kids who want to hear that, and they sort of mentor, somebody from the business community would mentor a classroom, is the idea, and talk about those different things, along with a company called Ernst & Young, or a division of it anyway, and I don't remember what the exact division was, but Ernst & Young is an accounting and accounting firm they started out as, but they branched out into many other things, sources of business optimization. So this is a study. It's a little old now. It's a few years old, but it's still very valid in the things that they talk about. Okay. So one of them, 41%, we'll get to the 60s in a minute. 41% of teens contemplated starting a business, according to this survey. Okay. Good, healthy number. All right. For this, I think this is about 5 years old. I think this is done about 2018, 2019, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Of those, 61% were girls. Go girls. 54% were boys. Okay. So of that 41%. Now, the rest of these numbers, the math is not going to add up. So don't try to make it add up. Okay. These are just various statistics that have been pulled out of this. Okay. 69% of kids and teens would like to, they have an idea to start a business, but they don't know where to go with it. Okay. 6% of boys have already started a business. 6% of teen boys have already started a business. 4% of girls have started one. Okay, so that's cool. There's some of those are already getting going, and for the boys, it probably involves yard work, and for the girls, it probably involves babysitting or pet care. But that's not always the case. Sometimes that's flipped around. I'm sure there are girls out there that are mowing lawns and have made great businesses out of it, and they would probably be pretty good at it. Curating lawns and that sort of thing, and making sure that happens, or selling things. I mean, that's any number. This was just in the survey that some of them have already started that business. Okay, 67% cite fear of failure as a reason for not starting a business, and that's understandable. That's nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to be told no these days. And unfortunately, this is the harsh, dark side of this. And that can crush some of these kids because of the way they've been brought up at the moment. I'm not casting any blame. I've done some of that myself. Just take it from somebody who has made these mistakes and is trying to learn from them. But kids in general seem to have this. I mean, everybody's got a fear of failure. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody likes failing. Okay? No matter who you are, how old you are. But the kids, at least in the United States, some of them that I've come across they're very much geared toward, they're extra sensitive to this sort of thing and the rejection and what's out there. And with starting a business and living out your passion, you can't be that. You're gonna have to steel yourself at some point that if you're gonna do this is to how does the phrase go? Right now, if you do what others won't, later you get to do what others can't. Okay, so that very much applies in this case. If you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to take criticism, if you're willing to adapt and to grow and to seek, but also seek out some positive, not glad hitting, oh, you're doing a great job. Not that, but you're doing a great job. And here's why. Here's the pieces of it that from my experience, this is what you did well. Here's a couple things you need to work on, and you have that too. But if you're really willing to take that to heart, you I mean, it's worth the ride at the end. It really is. If you're this is really what you want to do. So let's talk about some of those intangibles, shall we? Young entrepreneurs, you can start with your passion. Take the thing that if you really think you want to start a business, look around and say, what do I enjoy doing? Whether or not your passion, can you reasonably do it? Because you're going to have to do a lot of it. So what do I enjoy doing? What do I enjoy making? Can I make money from that? How can I take that in such a way that I can really make money? And I will be super jazzed no matter what life throws at me, that I want to get up in the morning and I want to go do that, or come home from school and figure out how to do this. Okay. The next thing is this can teach you more than an internship or a minimum wage job. And I'm talking about mostly Western world type kids at the moment. For some of the others, it's a little different. You'll have to do it to survive in some cases. But for a lot of kids in the United States and maybe Canada too, it is very much you do this, as an optional thing. And so if you do get it together to go get this isn't for everybody. Okay, the concept of doing a business and starting a business is not for everybody. So the minimum wage job has its place. But even those who own those franchises, the McDonald's of the world, they will tell you, if you really ask them, is that, and you really listen, is that McDonald's is not intended to be a long-term career. Unless you work your way up to become a manager or an owner. And even then, the ownership is definitely where you want to head with that. With most franchises like that there is a time and a place for some kids that's what they need, is that kind of structure, that kind of everything is set in place. So they learn and they grow, adults too. But then you get to a point where you really should be growing beyond it, is the idea. And if you really have the aptitude, then you become, general manager, or you become, you see what's involved in actually, beyond that. When you have some money built up, you see what's actually involved in buying one of those, or two of those, or 10 of those, because that's a different mindset owning it than working the drive-through. But those do have their place for certain people. Internships, if you're going to be, if it's something that's highly specialized, maybe it's a lab or something that you have to have some credentials to even work in, then yeah, fine, go do an internship. See if it's really for you. See if that's something really, really for you. There are internships in government where people go work and really see what that's about. But I also know what my companies I've been involved with asked interns to do. I know what other companies, people that I know who were interns, and what they got asked to do. So you might be better served if you want to, say, one day have your own bakery, by going and working in one. If you want to be that restaurant owner, go work in the restaurant as an employee, and learn and work your way up. Whether it's waiting tables, or it's you're back in the back cooking and learning from the people that are there. There's a lot of fast food restaurants that everything is, brought in and heated up. But there's also a lot of smaller restaurants where they're actually cooking and they're making recipes, and those recipes are good. And you learn from that chef, and you learn from that, whether they're, 5-star Michelin rated or what. Or they're just a chef with some really good recipes that their lines are out the door, and they're the cook, but they call themselves, they have earned the right to be chef because they're the one that while they don't have the, the schooled credentials for that, they're the ones making the recipes of the food that are bringing people in that nobody else does. So they're just as good a quality to learn from as somebody with a pedigree and everything else. So, but every chef starts out, washing dishes, probably in most cases, because that's how you learn and that's how you work your way up. So this can teach you more as an employee, or as a part owner, or as a full owner of your own business. It will teach you far more about, not only about business, but about life, than just going working the minimum wage jobs. But if you don't have that passion, if you don't have that drive, if you don't have that want to, and you're not willing to hear no, and you're not willing to take criticism, then yeah, go work for a fast food company for a while, make some money, make enough money to support yourself, and then work your way up to something more, to something greater. I don't mean that I'll just be real. This is what it is. And the true franchise owners, the restaurant owners, will tell you this. The ones that are the minimum wage jobs, they will tell, if you really pin them down, they will tell you this. They will agree. Okay. So, even though they have a hard time finding people sometimes, this can give you a real sense of accomplishment. Okay. To do this and to do it well and to succeed at any level, when you're doing this for yourself and you're feeding your passion and you're feeding your drive, this will boost you up like nothing else can. You've waded through all the junk, you've waded through all the no's, you've waded through all the criticism, or that you really screwed up some stuff, but you got kept around so you would learn and you would grow. And then when you finally do get it and you understand and you do it better, and it's the sense of accomplishment will just blow you away. There is no high like it anywhere in the world. None. There's no drug that will do this. There's no nothing like doing this. It's really amazing and really cool. So, okay. So help and resources are available. If you don't have, the beauty of starting your own business is you don't have to be a pro at this. There are so many things out there that can help you to get this started and to help you succeed, just like there are for adults. But there's as many or more for kids. that are out there. Okay. There is more. And okay, this is kind of the heart of where I was going with this. I don't have any statistics to back this up. There may be some out there, but I don't have them. But this can make, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that 6 years of starting your own business or working your way towards running your own business, and even if you have a co-owner as an adult or whatever, will teach you far more and make you far more money than anything else can, than the minimum wage jobs of the same time period or even longer, working your way through. This will, if you do this well and you live into it, not only will you not work a day in your life because you will be enjoying what you do every single day, you will be learning amazing things. You'll be learning about amazing people. People will support you, and they will financially support you, and they will get it done. One of the people I tried to get to come onto this podcast is a gentleman named Ben Stewart. And he'll tell you the same story. He's told it in many lives and many different things. His big thing, amongst other coaching, he's a coach, is a life coach and a business coach, and a very successful one. But he's also, and he's done a lot in marketing with LinkedIn, that sort of thing. But one of the things that he also talks about is that he went into these businesses to go into business with his kids. That was his goal. And his oldest daughter really took this to heart. I don't know about the other kids, but the oldest one certainly took it to heart and did the business with him. And then she got to, she found her place in that business. It was in fulfillment. This was, providing marketing services to people, and primarily through LinkedIn, but through some other things, getting them business based through LinkedIn for you marketers out there. He's all over the interwebs. It's not hard to find this story. And he does have trainings of his own that teach you how to do this. So, little plug there for you, Ben. I actually got to meet him a couple of years ago. Fantastic individual. But one of the things he talks about was his daughter's real passion was to work with horses, therapy horses, and that sort of thing. So she made enough money to support her going to these different, I don't know if they're camps or they are opportunities where for like months long that she would go work with these horses in different parts of the country and really get to do what she truly enjoyed, which was that. She'd run the business at night or something, and help, put her part into it because she was an owner after all. But it also fueled something that was her other passion that wouldn't pay her enough to do it. But she got to go do it and got to go live that experience and have that experience and do, because she was willing early with her father's guidance, I'm sure, and her family's guidance, to do what others wouldn't. She later got to do what others can't and got to go live one of her passions. And I say that sounds like a long time. I think she was in the business about 6 years, maybe 8 years, before she really got to do that, somewhere in that time frame before she got to go live those experiences. And she did some along the way, but the some of the apex of it was in her early 20s when she got to do this stuff. So it wasn't that long ago. So this potential is very real. It's to make all this money. It is if you really live into it and you really work through, the fruits of it. People will help you. People will support you. People will guide you and mentor you. And some of them can be from some of the most unexpected corners. So be open if you're even remotely considering this. Work through your fear of it. Ask lots of questions. Talk to several people, many of whom may discourage you, but there are several who won't, particularly if it's in the business that you want to go in. They would be thrilled to have somebody who would come in who would have half the zeal they do, because at the very least, you're speaking their language. You're taking an interest in what is their passion, and so they will feed it all the more to help you out. Okay, so there is no money there, but it does create some great. If you do that, it does create some great mentor opportunities, not only to be mentored, but as a mentor. And if you're sitting there going, I don't think I would do very good at this, I would be, you know what? You're going to make mistakes. You're not going to have something for them to do all the time. It's got to be a fit for both of you. You've got to find somebody who is not just doing this because they have to. They're doing this because they want to. And so they will find ways to keep busy. But you will then get to impart your wisdom to them in ways that they will remember, and ways it will have a huge impact on you. More than just, I heard this in a lecture someplace. It is on the ground. You're learning so much and you're learning as much. That's the dirty secret of it, is you learn as much from them as they do from you. Okay. So mentoring has its own potential for amazing things to happen for both sides. Maybe they'll come up with something that your mentee will come up with something that you didn't. I see marketers in groups that I'm a part of that mentor people, and they constantly reference stories about what their mentees did and how they taught the mentor. In some cases, they had a different approach for doing something. So do not underestimate the power of mentorship at all. It has been around for centuries for a reason. Okay, so consider embracing it, even if they're not your biological kid. If somebody comes to you and you're a business owner and says, I really want to do what you do, don't miss that chance. Okay, don't miss that opportunity to bring them along and to see how, what you can do to further their education and further yours in the process. Okay, so let's talk about some resources. Enough of me spouting some of the same things. So these are not the only ones out there. You'll probably find one where you live. You should search if this is really your thing and you want to kind of get started on some of these roads. There will be resources where you are. Look for them. There will be programs somewhere. Look for them. Okay. So let's start with summer camps, because camps. This is most of them during the summer. Some of them are during other school breaks, depending on when the school year comes, because we're talking about kids and teens, of course. So you have this one called eSeedling. This is very much to start kids on their entrepreneurial journey, teens in particular. This seems to be a little more aimed at. But I mean, there's probably room for younger kids as well. And I think this program has a little bit more of a world reach. Some of these have a world reach, some of them don't. So again, look for the resources in your area. Talk to the businesses that you are connected to somehow, and see if they are willing to take you on as an employee, but with the idea, don't go in as an intern. Don't do that. You don't get paid anything and you don't get to do anything. You really don't. Sorry for those of you companies who offer big internships, but you really don't. You will learn far more from being in the trenches, from washing dishes, from whatever else than you ever would doing the other. So don't miss that for a minute. But eSeedlings is a good place to start here. It seems to be. And so it's a great opportunity. Now, there's another one here called Beta Camp, and this seems to be they aim it at entrepreneurs, but this is a little more Silicon Valley-ish. This is a little more software-based. For those of you who think you want to be coders or game designers, kids, it's a tough way to stand out right now when everybody's wanting to do it. But maybe there's some other things. Maybe there's some other software you could develop using these same skills that actually meets a need that people have. Maybe there's something else you can do. And there's, for everybody who hyper concentrates on software development or coding, there's a whole or wants to be, something very specific. There's a whole business to be run around that. There's others I was thinking of that don't have anything to do with software, but there's, where everybody wants to be that one little micro thing that's actually the mid worker, and they don't think about the whole business that's built around that needs to be, that you need to know how to run too as well. You can be the best chef in the world and with the most natural talent, but you better know how to run your business, and you better know how to keep your costs in line of the food starts that you buy. the ingredients, so then you're actually making money and not just creating good stuff. You're doing both. You get your costs in line. One of the things we'll talk about later in our journey of jumpstarting real business life change is cutting costs. It's not sexy, it's boring, it's tough, it's hard to do now with prices rising, but you still have to do it. The purchaser is one of the most important people in your company. If they're not if you have one, or whoever does the purchasing role, if they're not doing it right, you're going to have lots of problems. If they're doing it well, you will enjoy success and you won't know where it came from, but that's where it came from. So anyway, Beta Camp is seems to be a little more tech skewed, but not entirely. I'm sure they do some other things as well, but those are a couple of good summer camps. Now, let's talk about younger kids real quick. And there's a couple of these that are really cool. One of them I am familiar with, but it's not this one. This is Kidpreneurs. And these are programs that are either in the community in general or sometimes in schools where they run these, and it's curriculum and it's a lot of different things that all are put together to have a good result and to teach younger kids about business. They're not ready to go start their own business, but they're ready to explore the concepts of it all. And that's where something like this could come in handy and be something that's a real success. Now, another one that I am familiar with is called Lemonade Day. And it's at least in the United States, and it's growing. A lot of inner city, but not entirely. And so the idea is here, just like with Kidpreneur, but not really an ongoing thing, maybe as Kidpreneurs is, this has a cycle to it. So the idea is you spend the school year learning all aspects of business, from sales to marketing to financials to purchasing to everything else, with the idea of the model they use is building a lemonade stand, is doing a lemonade stand. And so thus the name. But on the final day is what's called Lemonade Day, and they publicize it, across the city, nationally, whatever. But half of that publicity is being done by the kids themselves, by the teams that are put together. And to run their business. And so then they set it up and they run their lemonade stand, and they run every single aspect about it, from the promotion to the sales to the ingredients to the putting it all together. And it's a great way to do this, great way to introduce younger kids to this concept, and then to get them some success at the end of it, based on people how they buy their, whether or not they're doing it just because, oh, it's cute, how cute, kids selling lemonade, but also it really furthers it furthers the kids inclination to success, even their ego a little bit, feeds the ego a little bit, that they realize they can do this and what it looks like, and so much they have learned from this they can take into the businesses that they want to start. So great program is Lemonade Day. All right, so a little more worldwide reach here. We have the Children's Business Fair, and this is available in many countries. And this is sort of standing on what already happens, particularly in some third world countries, is that they you're out there. I mean, there's programs like this. It's not even an official program. It's just kids working in the family business, trying to survive. But there are some programs. I worked with a group, did the website work for, they're out of Tanzania, in Africa, Southern Africa. And they were building, they would empower different local people with setting up businesses, fruit stands, or sewing products, and making, shirts and garments and hats and whatever else, and teaching them these same skills. But these were adults. But I'm sure that their kids came right along with them, or the teenagers came right along with them, and were working in all this. They would raise chickens, they would raise and different livestock and sell them on the market, and how that would work, and all the different aspects of it that they were enabling. Well, this seems to be kind of the same thing. Just that you build these up, and then they have these fairs, and you can come and sell what it is that you have been creating, and you'll have learned all about the aspects of that business. getting supplies to creating the finished products, or making sure if it's animals, that they grow up well and they're fed properly, and that they're good for somebody to buy because they're well taken care of, in all sorts of different ways. So all different aspects of this is more a worldwide thing. It might be a pretty cool way to look at that. And these are screenshots, but you can search for any of this if it's appropriate to your area. Another one here is called Biz Kids. And when I was putting all this together, my daughter stuck her head in the door and she says, "Oh yeah, Biz Kids. I remember watching this. It's a show that was on public broadcasting here in the United States and maybe elsewhere too, on different channels. But it was, they teach a lot about science and math and different things, but they also talked about entrepreneurship. And it was all set up in the same thing. Well, it's certainly a TV show, but there's a whole curriculum around it that aimed a lot at schools that can help in ways that will help kids, identify with some of this. It's kind of cool. So now we get to some things that are a little more, they're a little more developed. They're a little more adventurous. They're not as much for the younger kids. And one of them, I'm going to try real hard here. Enterprise Adventures. I keep wanting to say entrepreneur because I see the first part of that and that's where it goes. Enterprise Adventures. I don't know a lot about, but it seems to be for teenagers. Similar to the concept of the Lemonade Day, where they work together as teams and they build up businesses and they promote those businesses, and it becomes an incubator for businesses and getting them funded and getting them out there and getting them producing. So might be a worthwhile deal. And I should note, some of these websites were not as updated. So some of these may not be around. This one is, because they mentioned having a new adventure set for 2024, which is now. So, but double check with the organization as to whether or not the website is updated or not, or if anybody's willing to invest in it. Or you as a marketer looking for a mentor opportunity. Hello, this is you. Come alongside these organizations if it's something that you could get behind. That could be your contribution, is updating this and keeping it current and giving and pouring into this situation, whether it's helping them with their back office stuff or working with the kids or the teens and lending your expertise to it. You won't get paid, okay? But monetarily, probably not as much as you'd like, but you will get far more out of it by really jumping in and contributing your expertise. It will teach you so much more than you're teaching them. Can't say that enough. Okay, last couple here would be this is the Young Entrepreneurs Institute, and this is for teens. This is kind of seems to be kind of getting into the higher end of this. So it's funding and much, much more. It's this truly tries to become, I think, sort of an incubator for making these things more, more well known, getting the word out there about different businesses for kids and teens. This is trying to make that a little bit more well known and covering more aspects, because eventually you do get to things like funding, and you do get to things that are business principles that anybody would need to know, let alone a teenager. But this seems to be tries to be, I think, a really good starting point for a lot of that, and might be worth looking into a little bit more. And finally, speaking of kind of cool concepts, this one is called Kid Everest. This is a crowdsourced funding platform for kids, for kid businesses and teen businesses. So a business starting out, if they want funding, can come here, make their pitch to get that funding, and have different companies and different groups fund it. Really cool idea, because I mean, this is aimed, if you're an adult and you need funding, stay off of this. Let the kids have it. I mean, there's you could throw a rock for a while there and hit funding sources. They filled up my inbox anyway. But if you are a teen or a kid trying to start a business or trying to co-start a business with other people, and you do need funding to buy the raw materials and the ingredients and the different things that you need to make your business go, or the equipment, this might be a place to start that. Like any funding, there I'm sure is a means that you have to pay it back, or you should pay it back, and that is its own reward, even though it can be very, very hard work. But this is a great opportunity for these kids, and I think this was probably one of the coolest things out there that's available. So if you have a business, Kid Everest is the place here, and there may be some other funding opportunities now too, but this one seems to be the one that's squarely aimed at them. Okay. All right. So there are many, 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 many more resources. Check your local listings and your local searches for opportunities near you. Okay. All right. Let's talk about what it's going to take to start a business. You decided you want to do this. So these are some basic things that I've come up with. And a lot of this is going to, over the next couple of slides, is going to sound very familiar if you hang around us long enough. Okay. It's not this isn't rocket science, guys, but sometimes you need to hear the same things said over again. You need to hear them said a different way for them to resonate. Okay. I know I'm that case. Maybe you are too. So the first thing is, take stock of your strengths, your weaknesses, and your knowledge. Okay. What do you already know about? What I did not add in here is your passion. What are you really interested in learning more about? You're not going to be an expert, teenager. You are not. There is so much more you must learn, young Jedi. Okay? Young Padawan. There is so much more you must learn. But if you do have some knowledge, if you do have some drive, because that breeds drive, and you're gonna need drive for this. You're going to. So take stock of what you have. What are your assets now? Do you have some materials? Do you have some expertise? Have you been doing this for a while for your family, and now you want to turn it into a business? Have you been? Do you see a better way after doing it for a while that's really not being done? And if it were done this way, it would revolutionize the whole thing. It would really help you stand out, help you get business, help you make money, and help you learn a lot, and help you share that with others as to what your secret is, as to why you do this so much better or different. So take stock of what you have. Okay. The next should sound familiar. Look for gaps or needs in the area, in the area you serve. You're not going to take this worldwide. Don't put yourself in that position. Okay. You're not going to be the next Amazon, whatever, drop shipper. I know drop shipping's out, but you're not going to be the next Amazon or Walmart, e-tailer. That has its own perils. Okay. You're just not. Don't set yourself up for that kind of failure. Start in your local area. Start with an area you can reasonably serve. You can build up to the other, but start with this. Maybe that's 20 square miles around you. Because anywhere you're willing or able to travel to promote this or perform the service, anywhere you're willing or able to spread the word relatively easily. Don't look at this and try to go for as they say in baseball, try to go for the home run. Don't do that. That's where all this fails. And that's where that fear of failure really does kick in. You can start small and manageable and grow. You can always grow bigger. It's hard to, start out big and grow smaller. It just doesn't work that way. If you take it all when you start out big, then you just only get bigger. But starting out small is a great way to do this. Start local is a great way to do this. Figure out the area you can do, but figure out what needs are there. Figure out what's not being met that you know how to do, or that you want to learn how to do, because you'll do it so much better if that's the case. All right. So that kind of goes along with the third point. Can you meet that need? Can you provide that solution with either some expertise you have or expertise you can get that you're willing, because you're willing to learn it? Can you meet that need? Can you seek out other people and say, you know what, as a mentor relationship, if they're older, and say, I don't, and they're more successful in what it is you want to do. Can you help me to do this? Can you help me get started? and I'll give some back to you in return as to my different idea, my different take on this. And so then it sort of morphs into eventually maybe a little bit of a partnership. Or would you be better off surrounding yourself, like we'll talk about in a minute, with others who have those skills that you don't have, that maybe are your same age, and you go into business together? Okay. So know your customers, know your audience. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? So learn your avatar of the people that would actually buy what it is you're trying to sell. What type of situation are they in? Do they have pets and don't have time to groom them or walk them? Do they have a yard and they hate yard work and their yard is out of control? And it would just take just a little bit to get it back into shape where it looks fantastic. Or something more grand than that. I mean, is there really a need there's not enough breakfast foods around? So maybe there's a breakfast cafe that could be opened, or pastries that could be made to provide different areas of breakfast. Do you go to different activities and they really need somebody to come in and, provide food or beverages for the folks that are doing them, to pull up in a food truck. Food trucks have revolutionized the restaurant industry, guys. I'm here to tell you, because they're cheap to set up. They can be an extension of the restaurant. They're not bound by some of the same things, and they give you the chance to be a little more experimental. You can try some different stuff. You can try some different and see if it does, see if it works, or see if it doesn't. If it doesn't work, you sort of retool the thing and you come back with something else, or you go back to the original restaurant idea, just a mobile version of it. I mean, what a great idea to do some of this, which is why there are food truck parks and food truck expos, and they're everywhere, because they're every places the restaurants want to be but can't. And so we have a friend that owns a restaurant, owns a taco shop, and is now getting into the food truck business. Now his take is going to be a little different, but he's able to take that food truck and take his things to more places than where his shop is located. So all the better, all more power to him. Okay, and then finally, who can you surround yourself with that will help you in this? Who can help lift you up, but not just fake lifting up, not cheerleading. For business, you don't want cheerleaders. I mean, they don't hurt, but they don't help much either. You want people who support you and are positive and are invested in what you're doing, but also contribute ideas or contribute help or contribute, we'll work on it with you, work in it with you. Will help you, supply the needs. If you don't have a driver's license yet, teenager, get somebody to drive you. Work it out with them that they're a part. Their service is a part of what you're doing. Most parents will do that. Many guardians will do. Many people all the people who are mentors may be willing to do stuff like that. Do what they can to help you, but they lift you up in the meantime. They're generally positive. They're going to have feedback. They're going to have criticism, but it will generally be constructive. It'll generally be coming from a place of, I just want to help. I want to help improve this because I want to see you do this. I want to watch you succeed. And I get so much satisfaction and joy out of that. I want to see you do this. I want to see this take off. Or if it's your small group of friends that you consider going into business with them, and you get to make sure that they are on the level you need them to be, and they're not going to be a drag down on the whole thing just to get the credit later without doing any of the work. They got to do the work too. They got to have a major contribution to this in order to take something out of it. There are people who are sponges who won't do that. So you need to find them, and you need to nicely vet them quickly if you want them, because starting a business, not for everybody. You can still be friends with somebody and not be in business with them. You might be better off that way in many cases, where they become your friend and hey, you get to watch, appreciate, you want to come buy something from us. Great. Awesome. But you're not into this. Your heart's not into this. So do what you can when you can, and we'll be doing this. And we will appreciate your support. Nothing wrong with that at all. Okay. So you have that going, where it is, this is a chance then for who can you surround yourself with that will lift you up, as particularly if they're your own age or they're a bit older. Or maybe you have a younger sibling who really wants to be involved in this and wants to do things with you, wants to be with you. Find them an opportunity in this. You never know what will come out of that. Just, constantly monitor that situation, and your mentors, the people that you choose to allow you to train you, will help you with this. Business with family is not easy. It's not bad. You should do it, but it's not easy. It has its own set of struggles, because most of which is you can never leave it. When you're done for the day and you go back to your regular life, the business is still there. It's still in your family. So be aware of that, but don't let it stop you. It just is its own different set of management opportunities. Okay. All right. Final thing here, a couple final points. These are tips and tricks. These are things that I have come across. They're not all my wisdom. They're, in fact, from a lot of other people. And so, but I hope they help. They're just things that I've discovered over time. And I've been hinting at a lot of them all along the way, for doing this, but because I want to be real with you as a teen or a kid who are really wanting to start a business, or an adult who says, I can really do this. I can really do that. Okay. All right. Let's see. This is not easy. This is not glamorous, but it has its own rewards. It has its own amazing rewards and its own life experience, things that you can't get anyplace else. So, all right. The first one is, go blow right through the 50 no's. There's a concept out there, and I probably have the number wrong, that you have to hear no a certain amount of times, because to really cement what you're doing. And if you still are doing it, want to do it after that, keep going, because you're gonna hear no. I know there's people who do challenges. They call it like a 10 no challenge or a 15 no challenge, that they'll start making. This is in cold call realm, that they'll start hearing. They got to hear no at least 10 times in a day before they'll stop making cold calls. The idea being that they're playing the percentages. They're going to hear yes in that time frame too. And the number of times they hear yes will be fine, but otherwise they'll keep calling until they get 10 no's, because they know that's coming anyhow. But hopefully they'll get some yeses in that same process. You're going to hear no. You're going to hear no a lot. You're going to get naysayers a lot who say, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do whatever. So before you embark on this journey, really spend some time. Don't be paralyzed by this, but really spend some time thinking, okay, am I ready to do this at any cost? Everybody's going to people are going to tell me no, that I really hope would say yes. But I really believe in this. I have done the homework on this and the research on this. I know it's needed. And most importantly for your family and the people who say are going to tell you no half the time, I know I can make money at this. I know I can provide a valuable service that people actually need, and they're willing to pay me for it, and I will do well at it. By sheer force of will, I will do well at it. And if you can get through that, then you will probably be successful, and you will do all right. But you've got to get through those no's. You've got to get through rejection. You're going to get rejected, guys. Sorry for the softies out there. This is not for you. You're going to hear rejection. This is the time when people stop being, that were once cheerleaders your entire life, stop being cheerleaders and suddenly seemingly turn on you. And some of them maybe truly so. Maybe you have no business doing this. You just think you do. Maybe you really won't make money at it, but you have to do that research to know. Even if you have to get help in doing the research, do the research. See what your potential is for that industry. It's available on the internet all the time. Dirty secret, guys, I have to look up what are gross profit and net profit for different industries, because it's something I have to know for success blueprints. as I'm doing here in a little while. And so I have those for an HVAC company. I have those all laid out as to what their average gross profit should be and average net profit should be, how much they're actually taking home. So then I know whether or not where these people are at when they tell me what theirs actually is. And so I can then kind of speak to where they are versus where we want them to be. Know that information is generally available for the Googling. It really is, for the searching on the internet. It's not hard to find. You will be amazed at how easy it is to find, by industry, of course. You won't find it for specific businesses unless they're supposed to put it out there. But for the industry as a whole, you can find those answers. They're stunningly easy. But if you're doing that research and you're ready to go, and and in your heart, and everything still checks out in your heart of hearts, then you better get started working on it and just ignore the people who tell you no. Okay, that's enough on that one. Know why you're doing this. This speaks to your why. Okay, everybody, all of us adults have to have a why in doing this business. For me, this is 20 years in the making. I have been a part of owning businesses for at least 20 years. Yeah, I'm that old. And before that, I worked for a maintenance and reliability consulting company, watching what they did. And before that, as I talked about earlier, I grew up as the kid of entrepreneur business owners who did coffee services and concession supplies and brought in other companies, started facilities that attracted larger companies to come in and buy them. I mean, it's something that's been in me for a while. But I understand what's involved with that. And I want that success for my family. I know it's going to be hard work, but for me, it's worthy hard work because I'm doing something I enjoy every day. And that will help support my family. And frankly, I would like my family to come be involved with it, to be involved in what I'm doing and why, and to be just as passionate about it. They're not always, particularly the young one in my house, but which is part of where this came from. But I want to share this with them and for them, and so then we get to do some things that strengthen us as a family, because not only we have the money to do them, but we enjoy what we do every single time. And yeah, maybe it goes on a vacation or two with us and we have to stop down and do some work there, but it's work we love. That's my why. What's yours? What's your why? It's probably not that grandiose. Maybe it's to feed your family. Maybe there's a kid that's in Northeast Houston that got on the news last year, I think it was, for all the right reasons. He wanted to go to an Astros game very much, but their family had some difficulty. So he ended up, Astros is the baseball team here, and World Series champions. Although not recently, but they'll get back there. But they're one of the few teams in Houston we get to root for that are doing well right now. Okay, so we got to take the win, literally. But he really was a huge fan and really wanted to go and really wanted to do. They're involved with the gallery. Really, had learned a lot from watching this Jim McIngvale that I've talked about before, that does this gallery furniture here in Houston. That's a huge entrepreneur and does all this. So this kid, I may be mixing up these stories, but this one kid, he started a business going around the neighborhoods. And he would pressure wash people's garbage cans and really clean them up and make them look good and help do that. That's a service you wouldn't think about. I mean, how often does anybody need their trash can pressure washed? But if you think about it, they're nasty. They're, unsightly. They can be if they're, used and abused like most of us do. And it sort of helps the neighborhood and it provides a little bit of a service. Is it a service everybody needs? Maybe not as much. But they realize that they're helping a kid who's motivated and who believes in customer service and checked on his customers regularly and really brought that around and he made a good amount of money. He got to go to his game. And turns out he got connected to Mattress Mac, to Jim McIngvale, who brought him in and showed him the inner workings of his furniture stores. And his big belief in entrepreneurship, and just really lifted this kid up. And it was just a really, really cool story at a time when we probably could use a really cool story. So there are plenty of opportunities like that. And that proves so many things we've been talking about this morning. That was his why, was to help his family and to go to that game, because he knew they had really struggled, and it just wasn't working. So he was doing the things he could do. That's probably the story of lots of kids around the world, is they're trying to help their family with what they can do. But what maybe your why is similar to that. Maybe it's not. Maybe this is just something you always wanted to do, and you've now seen an opportunity to do it. And you, again, will be amazed at how many people rally around you who see what you're doing and want to help you somehow, some way. And so be prepared to do that, which kind of speaks to the next set of things we're talking about. Be able to explain what you do and why in a sentence. One sentence. Does this sound familiar, entrepreneurs? Like maybe an elevator pitch? Oh, yes. We should all do this. We should all do a better job of this. But this is not easy. This is hard. I'm finally blessed to have one, but I haven't always. I throw around the real business life change thing, and I really do. That is kind of my why. I love seeing people do this in addition. But my elevator pitch is, I can find any business at least $50,000 of revenue in 50 minutes. And that does a lot of things. Combines a lot of things, but at the very least, it explains exactly what I do in one sentence. So be able to explain what you do in one sentence, even if it's simplistic. I come and wash out your garbage cans with a pressure washer to help them look beautiful and be sanitary and good for the neighborhood, and not spread disease or not spread anything else. So it looks great in the neighborhood. I mean, that's a poorly worded statement, but that's the idea. You get the idea right there as to what he does. Maybe it's, I will walk your dog and give them the exercise they need every day, so they come back happy and healthy to be with you. Or I'll clean your pool. I'll mow your yard. I will. I'll work with your kid every afternoon, so they're learning even when they're not in school. We'll have some activities and things for them that you actually end up teaching them. You'd be amazed what you start teaching somebody, what you get out of it. Even as a kid, even as a teenager. Not all teenagers think about this. You're learning too. And so maybe then you're teaching them to bake, or you're teaching them to do something else, and you're supervising them, and you're spending that time with them. That's valuable time. And you're really pouring into that kid, just as maybe somebody poured into you. So be able to articulate that in one sentence. Okay. Learn your customers. Learn your customers, learn who they are, learn everything about them, learn the ones you want to serve, learn everything you can. Constantly be on the lookout for, how can I improve? How can I do this better? Write down, journal what type of people they are in general. The ones, once you start getting customers, or the type of people that you're looking for. There's a whole exercise that I've listed out for mine, for building my avatar, they call it. So this is building your avatar. This is building your ideal customers that you are aiming everything at. And this is how you're going to attract them, but how you're going to serve them, and how you're going to keep them as customers coming back, and how you get them to start being salespeople for you, because they will. If you do them a good service, you provide them a good product, if they're smart at all, they will tell their friends. They will tell their people they know. And your business will blossom from there. You get the kid who does a great job mowing somebody's yard in a neighborhood, and everybody on the streets drives by and goes, wow, look at that yard. How did you get that done? Oh, neighbor kid down the street. Does that. Could be boy or could be girl. You never know. Girls, you can do this too. my daughter mows the yard all the time. She's actually quite good at a 360 riding mower that we have for mowing bigger property. She's better at it than anybody in the family because she's learned how to do it. And so, there's nothing says girls can't do any of this stuff. The people doing gardening in my house and my family's houses, not usually the guys, it's the women. They're good at it. So there's plenty of opportunities there. I don't want to stereotype at all. I want to leave that opportunity open to do that. But in that neighborhood, so it's a kid down the street, does a great job, constantly checks up on me, finds little extra things, that need to be done that I didn't see in my yard. And so I'm happy to pay them, $40 a week to do that or whatever it is. And then and because they're doing oh, really? Can you connect me up with them? Sure, I can. Here's their phone number. And they even have a little business card. Here, check it out. So it's knowing those customers and turning them into salespeople is a constant that will help you. We do that as adults, don't we? It's called referrals. Yes, I snuck the referrals in there. It's like a game with me every time. Got to find a place to sneak in referrals because they just work. Okay. So this is your knowing your customers and you get the referrals, but it's especially important and especially possible if you're a teenager or you're a kid working through this, running your own business. Okay. So this is a tough one, but look for constructive criticism. Seek out, you'll get your share of, you can't do that. You're an idiot. What are you doing? But and that's not fair, but it happens. People are idiots that way for just shooting it down. But the ones who take the time not only to, yes, they're going to criticize you, but to explain why and to work through it with you. Pay attention to those people, even though it goes against every fiber of your being to do so. If they're taking the time to do it, they want you to do better. They're not doing it to completely shut you down. They're doing it for some other reason. It could be as simple as they're worried about you, this taking over and it replacing other things that are priorities, all the way up to they really do want to see you succeed, and some minor tweaks and changes here will help you do that. Please pay attention to those people. Thank those people. Give them gratitude. Spend time with, really learning with them as to why. And maybe that's all they have to offer is that one little thing, but maybe not. Maybe they can offer more. Maybe they can be a guide. Heck, maybe they can be a mentor at some point, and that's sort of their way of auditioning. Because I don't know about you, but I don't know how to audition to be somebody's mentor. Do you? I don't know how to do it. So sometimes that's a way of starting that conversation. So anybody who offers you constructive feedback, it is okay, you didn't do this well. Here's maybe how you can change that. And if they're not, if they're not with it enough they just offer the criticism, ask them why. Why do you feel that way? How do you think I could do this differently? And then listen to the answer. Because if they do answer, that maybe is all the prompting they need. Mentors aren't perfect people. Lord knows customers are not perfect people, right? So, but the ones that take the time, a little bit of time or a lot of time to invest in you, even if it's under the guise of, criticizing you for something or saying negative things about your product or service or whatever. There's some people that are just mean and you just take them and go on. That's your no. Okay. That's our pastor talks about the thing for men. He started a podcast called Step Up, and he talks about the 70-30 rule, is that 70% of what we do is awesome, in life. But it is according to the Old Testament, ordained this way, back with Adam and Eve. But 30% is we are just destined to fail at. 30% is destined to be awful. It's going to be labor. It's toil. It's worthless. It's not good. but we seem to spend all of our time in that 30% area instead of the 70% that's awesome, that's going well, that's doing great, that could be so, even with a little tweaking, that could be better. Something could go out of that 30% and go into the 70% side. We men like to put things in boxes, right? There's a whole schools of thought around that. But yeah, don't spend your time on the people that just want to troll everybody and be nasty and spew and are just and they don't have anything constructive behind it. Okay, if they're just going to slam you and just walk away from them, they're not worth your time. They're not worth your effort. They're sad, bitter people, and they're going to get what's coming to them out of it. It's not your job to change them. And if anything, they'll drag you down to places you didn't intend to go. But the people who do take the time, yes, they will criticize you, but they're not mean about it. They're just, okay, yeah, this wasn't very good and this wasn't very well. Okay, what can I do different? Okay, well, maybe if you did this, maybe, try this, see if that makes sense. And dialogue with them about it. Don't get defensive. Really try to seek out and work through it with them, because again, not everybody's a good giver of advice. So we all mean well, right? Okay. And then finally, I think here, this is not finally. Support others who support you. Make it when you see this all the time, when people are starting businesses, this is the first place they go with their family and friends and people they trust and their circles and their people that they outreach. They're trying to get going. So if somebody does that, go support them. Go try their product or service. Give them a review. Potentially, if you actually use their services. If not, make it look like you did. So that helps them. That helps them to come along. Go support their business. Go support what they're doing. And if people do that to you starting your business, do it for them. Go support their business. Go help them out. Go promote them. Even if it's not really a competitor, but it's another kid trying to make money. There's plenty of customers in the area, if you've done your research, that for everybody. So you help support those who lift them up as businesses, lift them up as kids and teens who are trying to do it right, who are trying to stay out of trouble, who are trying to do something that's really, truly meaningful, not only for them, but for their customers. And you build that whole community. That's a lot of what I spend my time doing is one of my avatars is digital marketers. Guys, I'm coming for you. Okay. Sorry. If you didn't know that, got to know that. And mostly agency sides, businesses that are a little more developed, because that's really where this can help. But those of you who are freelancers and all on the way, maybe something like our Success Academy training would help you to grow and get to the level that you want to be, where you're really starting to make stuff. But I'm, in people's groups and contributing and doing different things all the time in the ways that I can. If it's a local business that I know somebody's involved with, I'll go patronize it. I'll go spend money with them and help them out. And they would do the same for me if given the opportunity. That's how you build that network. That's how you grow. That's how you spread the word about what you're doing. And you gain allies in the process. We talk about around here vertical and horizontal marketing all the time. Horizontal marketing are those alliances, or in the vernacular of the more recent, alliances and joint ventures and partnerships. Okay, that's what this speaks to. That's the potential of what this speaks to. And at the very least, it just gets you customers that help you build up your base. But at the most, you could end up with some really cool alliances of people that maybe they even do the same things you do, but you divide it out. Maybe one's better at residential, the other's better at commercial once you get a little older. And you get into things like that, or one's better at serving one population, another's better at serving another part of the population. And so you combine forces in a way that works for everybody. And so it can be a huge thing, but it starts with supporting each other. Small business is tough, man. It really is, but it's so worth doing. It is the backbone of America. It's the backbone of countries worldwide. Although it may or may not look the same. The market, think about the marketplace in Africa or South America. How many people are out there selling what they, or the Middle East, or India, or different places? How many people are out there selling what they offer? That's a small business, guys. Even though it's maybe a family running it, it's a small business. So it matters. It's a big deal, and it's worth investing in those, in each other, to keep those going. Okay. Now the final thing is, this is one I've learned later. It's not mine, but it makes so perfect sense. Never, I should have capitalized that entirely. Never miss an opportunity to promote your business. If you're really going to do this, if you're really going to go into business as a small business, as an entrepreneur, or as a really and truly, if you're younger and starting this out, you're probably going to have some investment help. You're probably going to have some financial guidance. So this may be a partnership between you and your family, or you and your mentor, or you and your whatever. That's cool. That's fine. No problem. But never miss an opportunity to promote this business. Have your one line set up so that anybody asks you what you're doing lately. Oh, I've got a business that I will make your trash cans look beautiful and sanitary for the neighborhood, and just look decent and give you some peace of mind. Or I will mow your lawn to the best, or you maybe take it another level. Hey, I can make an incredible cake for your next event. I can do this or whatever for your next opportunity. I make the best tacos and tamales because I learned from my grandmothers how this is done, and it's magic. You need to have these for your next your next event out there if you need some food or whatever. So I mean, it's never miss it. Get that down to a very quick explanation of what you do. Very short explanation. I mean, the sentence is perfect. If they want to know more, they will ask. If they don't want to know more, it'll be, that's great, and go on. Or maybe or you can twist that as, hey, it's if you need that business, let me know. Or maybe come in sometime and I'll give you something special. I'll give you a treat or whatever, for doing this. Or if you have that need for your kids, ask this family over here what I've been doing with their little kids. Some of the fun we've been having. It's amazing. I love those kids. They're like, I mean, if I were to have kids when I get older, I want these kids, because we're having so much fun with it. Never miss an opportunity to promote your business, to have the name ready. It's ridiculously easy to get all that in place, to have some sort of online presence. You can do Google Business Profile for free. You can have help or get on Facebook and make a page for free. Don't get wrapped up in TikTok and YouTube. That will come. Okay. That is not a business page make. Those are a bunch of videos, and there's a time and a place for it, but that's not right this second. You need a stable presence that notates where you are and what you do, and make it easy for people to find you, and make it easy for you to point to when times like this come along. Because if you're doing this and you're starting a business, they will. And you'll get plenty of opportunities to do that. So I hope this has been helpful. This has been sort of my take on stuff. I hope this starts a lot of conversations. I am no expert on this, okay, guys? But I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of history. And there are others in your community that have experience and have history that you may not realize they had. So kids, teens, if you're really passionate about this, be prepared to hear no a lot. But really, if you think you're ready, if you think you're set, if you think this is something you really want to do and you're willing to invest the time in it, don't sacrifice things like school that you have to do. Don't let it own those. You still have to go through those motions, guys. Sorry. But in the time that you're not in school, and the time that you're not involved in that stuff, maybe this becomes your outside passion. This becomes your extracurricular activity that you spend all your time on your business serving your customers, and you will come out of it so far ahead. You will be blown away when your peers, 5 years down the road are barely struggling, or can't even make enough money to put gas in their car, or to get to someplace they need to go, or to go do some opportunity, go to a concert or whatever. And here you are, because you put in the effort and you put in the work. You're enjoying that concert up front. You went and got front row tickets because you really like that band. Okay. And those are not cheap right now. I'm here to tell you, you get to do the things that others can't, because right now or later, because, well, let me just back up and just redo it. If you're willing to do now what others won't, later you get to do the things that others can't. Maybe you can buy your own car. Maybe you can dress it up however you want it. Maybe you can go have some amazing opportunity at a culinary institute that you always wanted to learn, and a chef you always wanted to learn from, because you spent the time, starting out in your house with your bakery, and you saved up your money, and you made things that made a profit. Maybe you'll get to have an opportunity somewhere that furthers what you do, and try to make it an opportunity that furthers what you do. But maybe something that's a dream of yours, maybe something that's a bucket list item of yours that you get to do because you're willing to put in the hard work now. And you will try not to look too harshly on your friends who didn't do that, but they, I promise, will be looking up to you every single day. And they'll just, with awe, is like, wow, how did that happen? How do they get to, that's amazing. That's true. I mean, it's not that you should do it for this, but man, it feels good sometimes when people start doing that. Just don't let it go to your head. Okay. Just keep being and doing the things that got you there, as you learn and grow. And still be ready to learn, still be humble, be ready to be taught, be ready to be mentored, and look for those opportunities to do that in your life. And yeah, your potential, you don't know your potential. And as soon as you figure out your potential doing stuff like this, you'll marvel every day at how amazing it truly is. So I hope this has been helpful along those lines. Something that we do all the time is, and that we find these potentials for these businesses. And this is, guys, this is some of the same reactions that I'm getting from business owners as we start digging into this. And you can just see the wheels start to turn halfway through the session. And so we try to do 50 minutes. We set aside 90. One ended up being 3 hours because we just started the wheels spinning. We just started. I mean, you can just all of a sudden see when somebody is trying to get you and what you do, and you start brainstorming with them and you start connecting with them, it gets fun. It gets really fun. So if you are at that point in your business, if you're making a fair amount of revenue, guys, I mean, this is not for the $500 a month revenue. Sorry, it's not. We do have things like the Success Academy that will get you there, that will get you to a higher level. But if you're making a good chunk of change and you're farther along, but you realize you're not doing things, your business is not performing the way you think it should, or there's some issues you think it could have, consider doing a success blueprint with us. You can go to blueprint.jkoworks.com right there. And go through that process. If you have a physical location, you'd want to, even if you don't see customers in it. I mean, an HVAC person has no business having customers in their office, and they would agree. So unless there's just some real special reason for that. But if you're a physical location, that's the success blueprint. If you're an online business or a marketer, then we have a digital success blueprint that is slightly different, but is for you. Nonetheless, is for you. And we cover a few different topics that would be more germane to what you do. Website optimization, SEO, social media management, that sort of thing. Yes, it's marketing stuff, but then we also talk about metrics and KPIs. We talk about your market dominating position. We talk about what is your offer that people would be, upon hearing it, would be stupid not to take you up on it if they have that need. If they have that, if that's actually a need they have, They'd be a fool not to choose you to provide that service for them or that product for them. So we talk about all those kinds of things. So the place to start, though, is the blueprint.jklworks.com. It'll be about a 15-minute session, 5-0. That's what we aim for. And then and then we'll find you at least $50,000 of revenue in your business in 50 minutes in that time frame. And often it's a lot more. I was finding revenue for a client the other day in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for a year. This is for a year. And then we work with you step by step, piece by piece to help uncover that. So that's what we do. So I hope this has all been helpful for you. I hope this has been helpful for the kids and the teens in your life. This is stuff worth doing. It's harder than going to getting a regular entry-level job. It's harder, but it's so much more rewarding. It's a lot of fun. And the climate is such now for it. I'm not talking about the greenhouse gas thing. I'm talking about the business climate. The climate for this is so available right now. It is so optimistic for for the small business. It's coming back. It really found its feet during during the pandemic. But now afterwards, as we all learn and grow and evolve, it is finding its feet. Small business is coming back. Small business is making a difference. Small business can persevere and thrive. That small business could be a group of 200 employees. We were still considered a small business when we had our 200 employees in 3 locations. Up to like $7 million in annual revenue, I think, is still considered a small business, and that's a good chunk of change, guys. But that's all the way right down to the lawn mowing, the kid and the teen with the lawn mowing business that has three customers and takes care of them and maybe makes, $150 a week. That's a small business too, and just as important. Okay. So I hope this was helpful for you. This was kind of a passion project of mine. We will get back to regular things next time that we talk. But for right now, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this is beneficial. I hope you share this with somebody in your life who is considering starting a business, no matter what age they are, but especially a teenager or a younger kid, to kind of get the younger kid to whet their appetite for it, but the teenager who is truly ready to embark on that journey. And I hope you will either embark on that with them or give them or put them in the path of people who can help them out to get on that journey. So I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment wherever it is that you're watching this, or drop us a line at john@jklworks.com. And JKLWorks, of course, is the website that we have all the information and all the stuff. Thanks so much for watching. We will talk to you really, really soon.